Hello everyone, welcome to a new video. So yeah, today's video is about in February, what I enjoyed in February, the month of February. So February was an interesting month for me because I read a lot this month. I have read more than I have read, which is not a lot because I haven't read a lot. So starting off with the first book that I read, this was between like the end week of January to like took me like a long time to read because it's a behemoth of a book. So the book I'm talking about is Words of Radiance by Brandon Sanderson. So it's the second book in the Stormlight Archive series, which currently my obsession, my favorite thing that keeping me alive. This book in particular, Words of Radiance, the second book, this took me a while to finish, but overall I think it is one of the best book I've read. I still enjoyed The Way of the Kings more than Words of Radiance, just because it felt more like well paced. It felt there was like a lot of action and a good moments like throughout the book. But this book, the last like 300 chapters, this does go very like big reveals and like big emotional moments. Few of the moments that like still in my head, and I bet I will remember those lines again in the future. So yeah, this book was 5 out of 5 stars. I really love this book. Highly enjoyable. Would recommend to read the Cosmere. Start with Mistborn if you want to. Mistborn's Era 1. And yeah, Words of Radiance was a nice start in the reading of February. So the next book I enjoyed was the second book in a series of unfortunate events by Lemony Snicket. So the first book is Bad Beginning, and the second book is The Reptile Room. Yeah, this is a very fun, short, middle grade series. It's a very famous series about like these 3 orphans who move around to places and where like people are trying to steal their fortune because their parents were very rich, and so they get into bad events and they are very unfortunate, like the title says. So I read this book last year. It was a fun short read to like get my mind off, and I read the second book in February after reading Words of Radiance. As I expected, it was a 4 out of 5 stars. It was really great. I have nothing bad to say about this book. It's a fun time, and I will read more in between like larger big fantasy books or like hefty books. And the next book that I picked up in February was Divine Rivals. I picked it up on my Kindle. So yeah, Divine Rivals is the hot like fantasy romantasy book, which is very popular on the internet. Everybody loves this book. Unfortunately, I didn't. I thought it was good. It has its own charm. I would give the book 3.5 stars, or 3 or 3.5 stars based on a good day. Story was about this girl whose brother goes off to a war between these 2 big gods who are fighting with each other, and then this girl is rival with another person, and they both like really hate each other, but like not really, if you know. There's like, so I enjoyed the first half of the book really very much. I thought the world was very interesting. I really enjoyed the magic of like typewriters and like letters magically send it to another person. What I didn't like was the ending, or before the ending of like how the main thing which I read this book for was to get into romance, and I didn't enjoy the romance of this book. I am going to continue to read the second book because I want to know how it ends. Second book is I think called Ruthless Vow. It's in my library in the wait list. I will get to it later in the year. But Divine Rivals was a fun read, a good read. I would recommend it if you wanna get into like a good fantasy romance book, but I had very high expectation which it wasn't able to meet. So the next book that I picked up was Little Woman by Louisa May Alcott. I should say the names of who wrote the book. I always forget. So Little Woman is about this four women who are sisters, Jo, Beth. I'm forgetting the names. I love both of them, that's why I remember. It's Jo, Beth, Amy. Who else? I'm so bad with names. It was Jo, it was Beth, it was Amy, and Meg. Little Woman, if you don't know, is it's like this book is like only half of the Little Woman. The second book is called Good Wives, which I didn't read because I didn't know it was split into two books. So Little Woman was a fantastic read. I really enjoyed this classic. Of was written with so much like feelings and care. There are a lot of scenes which like tug with your heartstrings, you know, as it warms the cockles of my heart. So A Little Woman was of course a 5 out of 5 stars. It's more of a 4.5 because I did find some problems with this book. Everything was like, but the feelings were so good. So I cannot wait to read Good Wives. I will get to it as soon as I can. But Little Woman was a fantastic read. It's one of the highlight of my like reading career, which I am very new to. But yeah, Little Woman is one of my favorite books I have read ever. And yeah, and of course, and also after reading the first book, I watched the movie, the 2019 movie, and the movie is also a masterpiece. It's also a 5 out of 5 stars. I loved it very much. I have spoiled myself of what happens in Good Wives because of the movie, but it's all right. I can still cry while reading, even though I know what's gonna happen. It was the third book that I picked up in February. Fourth book, the next book that I picked up was Percy Jackson and the Lightning Thief. So I really wanted to get back into fantasy, and Percy Jackson is like one of the most like famous like YA books ever written in fantasy genre, and it's about this Percy, this boy who has some supernatural powers given to him by a god. So this is about it's like a big like fun adventure with your friends, like kind of like Harry Potter's, I would say. It's very like reminiscent of like the vibes of Harry Potter, of like friendship and like going along in an adventure and saving the world kind of thing. And yeah, this was surprisingly very well written. I didn't have a lot of expectation, but yeah, I really enjoyed Rick Riordan's explanation of Greek myth. So I do not have a lot of knowledge about Greek. Some are from like God of War or Hades, which is in the lot. But yeah, I completely like understood like what all these gods were, what were their powers, and like their like relationships with each other. And it's just a cool concept. Like the concepts of this book was really cool. I really enjoyed all the journey, and I cannot wait to read all the books in the series. I think it's a fun time. I can read it like very easily and just have fun. This was a really fun book. So this is the total books that I read. Of course, I picked up more books which I DNF'd. One of the book would be this big boy, this big boy here, Dune by Frank Herbert. So I read Dune. I tried to read Dune a month ago, but I didn't like it. I tried to read Dune last year after watching the movie. In 2021, after watching the movie, and I really love the movie. I think it's awesome. But Dune, the book, I went about like 300 pages. Then I stopped because I don't know, I wasn't into very well into reading. And as the new movie just came out, it was coming out before in February, and yeah, I picked up the book. I read 100 pages, and I realized, this is really boring. So I just didn't pick it up again. Yeah, so that's the reason. I just DNF'd it, and I don't know if I'm gonna read it again, because I read 100 pages and nothing was really interesting about this book, because I watched the movie twice, I read the book once, two half ones, and I don't want to read this again. So yeah, that was my rant about Dune. It's over. The next book that I'm currently reading, it will go into the March, would be It by Stephen King, and this is also a very big book. I have a problem. I love big books, but they are really take a long time to read, and I get impatient, like, why I'm not finishing this soon. It's going to be a trouble to like explain, because it comes in like the word and the book also. So I have watched the movie, the first part of the movie, the new versions, and I have very little recollection of those movie. And this book started off really well. I am currently in 360 pages, page 360, like 30% through the book, and I'm enjoying it. I'm really enjoying the how the book is paced, like how like each chapter like tries to tell like a arc of a story, but in those stories there is also like small sections. So yeah, Stephen King, it is a big book. It will take me some time to finish it. I hope to finish it in March. I hope this series will be fun. I have some problems with this, so it will probably be, I'm predicting a 4 or 3 stars. It won't be a 5, it won't be a more than 2, because there are a lot of things to enjoy about this book. So as I was reading it, so it is very scary. I'm always on the edge of my seat while I'm reading, like my muscles are all tensed up. It's just so hard to read. So to counteract that, my dumb brain thought that, why shouldn't I pick up another 800 pages big fantasy book? So yeah, I'm also currently reading The Prairie of the Orange Tree by Samantha Shannon. I'm like 60% in. I'm reading it on my Kindle. It is a very fantasy book. I do not know, like I have read like 6 chapters, and I do not know, like the author has introduced many characters and like so many names of like powers and objects. Like my mind is a jumbled mess, and I quite honestly don't want to read that right now. So I don't know what I'm gonna do with The Prairie of the Orange Tree. I was really anticipating to read this book. Yeah, this is what I'm currently reading. Oh yeah, I also am reading the book called Gender Euphoria by Laura Kate Dale. Stories, it's a short story essays about all the experience of like gender euphoria by trans, non-binary, and like queer people. And it's like every single chapter I've read like two of those essays, and I'm already sobbing my I'm weeping, because every single chapter I relate to, and it's really heartfelt, and I'm really enjoying this book. I will read it in like, I cannot read it all at the same time, so I'll read it like 1 or 2 chapters when I like wanna feel euphoric, when I feel like good, because trans people lives are pretty fucking bad. My life is pretty fucking bad, and books are keeping me alive, and I don't know what's gonna happen to me in the future. But like, why I'm telling it to unknown people on the internet, like nobody's gonna watch this. If you do, please say hi so I can talk to anybody, because I'm fucking lonely. So that was all the books I read in February. Some more things to say I enjoyed or currently enjoying would be the show called Twin Peaks, which is a really awesome show. It's a show about murder, cheating, sex, drugs, and it's about a crime and in this small town. And I have already watched the first season, which is, I believe this is the best season. I'm currently in the season 2, and I think it's weaker than the season 1, but I would say it is my comfort show. It's a really comfy show for me because I really needed something weird to watch, something it's the vibes, the soundtrack of this Twin Peaks is like unmatched. Like those the opening, and I love this show so much. Another thing that I'm enjoying right now is playing to Persona 5 Royal, which is an amazing game. It's taken over my life, and I have played the first 20 hours of this game before, and I'm currently playing it through again. I dropped this game because something I don't remember, but Persona 5 is so good. The vibes of this game is unmatched. Everything is so cool, everything is so stylish. I just love this game, the soundtrack, everything. A movie I watched, I didn't watch a lot of movies, but the movie I watched recently is called The Poor Things. It was an Oscar nominated movie which I was really anticipating to watch, and they released it on demand, and I watched this movie. I think I know my taste because this movie was brilliant. I gave it 4.5 stars. I think this movie was really well made. I would say if you like your psychology, if you like your character study, please watch this movie. It's like a psychological analysis of a person who has a brain of a child but has a body of an adult. It's a psychological analysis of a person who has experiences. It shows experiences of your life through different jumbled mess of some things you experience as a child, that person experienced Bella experiences before that, and there's a lot of sex in this, a lot. I love it. I love the exploration of attraction and everything. It's someone says it's Barbie for mentally disturbed people, and yes, I agree. It's my Barbie. Poor Things is my Barbie, and I love this movie. So that was all the things I enjoyed in February. Thank you for watching, if anybody watched, and I'll see you in the next video. Tell me what you liked in this month, or what are you liking right now. Bye bye, see you later.
Hello, everyone. How are you? Fine, thank you.
Oh my god!
I wish I were a bird.